Human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery in which people profit from the exploitation of others. Many people think of slavery as something of the past, but it still exists today. Human trafficking includes sex trafficking and forced labor. It is estimated that each year over 17,000 men, women, and children are trafficked into the U.S. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, or UNODC, the definition of trafficking includes three elements: the action, the means, and the purpose. The action is the way of recruitment. The means is the use of threats, force, and abuse of power. The purpose is always exploitation. This can occur sexually, or it can be in the form of forced labor or services. Human trafficking is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world, and it is estimated that there are 35.8 million victims of trafficking in the world today. India alone is responsible for 14.2 million of these slaves. However, because trafficking occurs underground, the numbers can be difficult to assess because it often goes unidentified. Human trafficking occurs in every region of the world, and it generates tens of billions of dollars per year. This map shows the location of potential human trafficking cases in the U.S. from 2007 to 2012. Victims of human trafficking can be any age and gender, but the most common victims are women. It is common for female victims to become criminals as a result of trying to escape their own victimization. Children are also common victims of trafficking. Worldwide, children make up 20% of the victims. However, in some countries, children are the majority of victims, making up 100% of victims in parts of West Africa. One victim, a 13-year-old girl named Natalia, was told by her parents that she was moving from Ghana to the U.S. with family friends who would give her the opportunity to get an education and learn English. After arriving in the U.S., she was physically and sexually abused, and for the next 6 years she was forced to cook, clean, and take care of 3 young children. Natalia often worked for 18 hours a day and received no payment and no education like she was promised. She eventually ran away and called the police after being severely beaten one day. Natalia was taken to the hospital for treatment and connected with the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, who provided her with clothing, food, shelter, and counseling. Natalia is now pursuing her education to become a nurse. Victims are often tricked by a recruiter who is a relative, friend, or someone who seems trustworthy. Traffickers are often the same nationality as their victims. Sometimes, female traffickers are chosen to recruit other women. According to the Dream Center, an organization that provides hunger relief, shelter for trafficking victims, job skills training, counseling, and other services for those in need, 99% of trafficked victims never get rescued. Many sex traffickers lure their victims with the promise of a better life, a high-paying job, or luxuries. Others promise romantic relationships to their victims before exploiting them. Traffickers physically and emotionally abuse their victims and isolate them from their family or friends so they have no way to escape. Victims of sex trafficking are expected to earn a nightly quota for their pimp, ranging from $500 to $1,000 or more. Labor traffickers use threats, debt bondage, and violence to acquire their victims and force them to work against their will. Common types of labor trafficking in the U.S. include victims forced to work in homes as domestic servants, farm workers forced to harvest crops, factory workers, door-to-door sales crews, and carnivals. Victims are often forced to work long hours with little to no pay. According to the UNODC, 79% of trafficking cases are sexual exploitation, while 18% of cases are forced labor. However, women being used for sexual exploitation are commonly seen in cities and on highways, so these cases are reported more often than cases of forced labor. Many cases of trafficking are underreported, including forced or bonded labor, domestic servitude and forced marriage, organ removal, and exploitation of children in begging, the sex trade, and warfare. The UNODC works to prevent human trafficking by creating videos and public service announcements that are broadcast around the world in many different languages. They collaborate with non-governmental organizations to deliver written information to victims and potential victims of trafficking. The UNODC also assists countries in developing legislation and effective law enforcement against human trafficking. Many developing countries do not provide full protection for their citizens against trafficking. Polaris Project is an organization that works with government leaders to protect trafficked victims' rights and work towards reporting and eliminating trafficking networks. In 2013, Polaris Project succeeded in passing the Trafficking Victims Protection and Reauthorization Act in Wyoming, the last state to pass an anti-human trafficking law. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem that goes unnoticed by most people. It is the second largest criminal industry in the world, and there are more slaves in the world today than ever before in history. Joining outreach organizations, being informed, and spreading awareness are essential steps to take in order to end human trafficking.